Welcome to Imagining Bridges to Better Leadership, the podcast where we explore how to strengthen teams, enhance communication, and elevate leadership skills in organizations just like yours. Each week, you'll gain actionable tips, expert advice, and inspiring stories to help you create thriving teams and sharpen your leadership skills. Now here's your host, Dr. K.D. Neal, ready to guide you on the path to better leadership.
I'll conquer mountains, cross the sea. Nothing is impossible, just believe.
Well, welcome to another episode of Imagining Bridges to Better Leadership. Here we explore how creativity, culture, and courage come together to shape the leaders who build rather than break, connect rather than control. I'm your host, Dr. K.D. Neal, and we're going to have a great show again today. Today's guest is a powerhouse in personal transformation and executive performance, Lisa Goldenthal. Lisa is an executive coach, a best-selling author, and the host of the acclaimed podcast, WholeCEO with Lisa G, where she interviews top thought leaders and high performers about how to level up in leadership, health, and mindset. Her work has been featured on ABC, NBC, and CBS, and her best-selling book, The Boss Weight Loss, has inspired countless professionals to take charge of their health and leadership from the inside out. So get ready for a conversation that will challenge your excuses, elevate your thinking, and ignite your leadership potential. Lisa Goldenthal, welcome to the show.
Oh my gosh, Kevin, thanks for that lovely introduction and having me. I'm just thrilled to be here. I love what you're up to.
Well, I'm glad to have you and looking forward to getting into this conversation. First of all, though, we ask all of our guests that come on, number one, what is your superpower and what is it that you love about what you do and who you are?
I would say that resilience and grit are my superpowers. I mean, because you need both in these crazy disruptive times we're all living in, and we've all been around these crazy, horrible bosses that somehow still exist. So my superpower is raising better leaders, coaching leaders, and helping them lead in a more authentic and connection type of way.
Yes, that's a great superpower to have. I tell you, we do need help with leadership because wherever you go, you're going to have leaders. The problem is, are they going to be good leaders or are they going to be leaders that cannot really perform what they should be doing? So let's talk about that. Tell me, how did you get on this leadership journey? How were you catapulted, I guess you could say, into the leadership arena?
Well, thanks for that question because my background is more health and wellness. I started out, in fitness. I've always been like pretty anxious, I'd say, my whole life. So I've always gravitated towards fitness. I'm like one of those freaky people that doesn't feel good unless I exercise, and I actually like to exercise. So as a coach, coaching executives, you always see other gaps where you can fill in the blank. And I decided after having conversations with people that, obviously you have to be fit to be a top performer, but there's so much more to it in these crazy disruptive times. We're all trying to figure out AI and what's going on in the world. And it's, the pandemic and all of that. So I created the BOSS method because it's not just about fitness. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about optimizing your energy. It's about managing your mindset and self-leadership. It's like you said about needing better leaders. I heard it said that if you're a leader and you go out for a walk, no one's following you, then you're just going for a walk. So basically you want to help leaders be the kind of leader that others want to follow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe that as well. I think that if we are going to lead, we should be in a place. And one thing my mentor says, John Maxwell, he says that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So if you're a leader, you have to have influence. If you're not influencing somebody, you're just out, like you said, taking a walk. And we all have leadership influence somewhere in our lives. And you have to figure out what context that leadership is, whether it just be with your family, whether it be with your friends, on your job, wherever it is, you have some leadership capacity. So how are you going to handle that leadership capacity depends upon what you do. So tell me, you have been in the fitness arena for quite a while. So tell me how that plays into leadership and helping leaders to become more proficient in their leadership.
Well, everything is energy. You have to manage the energy. You have to be really intentional
Hmm.
about how you want to show up for a meeting and influence people for good, not influencing them for bad.
Right.
So basically, my background in health and wellness really teaches me discipline
Hmm.
because all the people that I coach, high level leaders, have amazing discipline. You can't get to be where you were to be successful in organization and run a company if you don't have discipline. So I love taking that discipline and helping them stack positive habits in their life
Hmm.
where how you do one thing is how you do anything. And so if you already know how to run an organization, you can take that same discipline and apply
Hmm.
it to all other areas of your life.
Right. Right. So, would you say that if a person is not physically fit or physically healthy, they can't be a good leader? Or would you say that they have to use the same amount of focus and emphasis that they use in whether it be the workplace or wherever they're leading? They have to use that same focus in their physical health.
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say they can't be a good leader. I'm just more positive than that. I'm just saying
Hmm.
you can be a better leader when you lead yourself first. So people are obviously going to watch what you're doing, not what you're
Hmm.
saying. And if people notice that you're prioritizing health and wellness, then you can lead others to do the same. So
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be some drastic life-changing shift, but obviously can lead in any kind of shape, but you need to be in shape to be an amazing leader at your peak.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I think that being a leader in the sense of your health and wellness, it's a part of that internal leadership that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
We have to be leaders of ourselves first in order to
right.
lead others.
I
Yeah.
think so too. That's where it starts, you know. Emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness, and once you have that self-awareness on how you lead
Hmm.
and leading yourself first, that's
Hmm.
always the first step is clarity.
Yes, that's a good response to understanding our leadership is not just about leading others, but about ourselves.
Right.
So tell me, how did you get on this pathway to leadership? How did you get on? Is this something that you always knew that you would be doing? You knew from a childhood? Because I speak to a lot of people, and I've heard a few, not a whole lot, but I've heard a few say that I knew that when I was a child, this is what I was going to do. That was not me. I was not in that situation. But tell me, how did you get on this pathway?
Well, I wasn't me either. I mean, I was kind of like a rebellious, crazy child my whole life and passionate about fitness, but it was really, I think pain is a great motivator in life, and I've been in pain before around
Hmm.
men and leaders in my life that were doing it all the wrong way.
Hmm.
And then you start blaming yourself and thinking, why is this happening to me and blaming others? So I think if I wouldn't have been around people that were doing it all wrong
Hmm.
in the past and gravitated to those kind of people again and again, it wouldn't have brought me down the path of personal development
Hmm.
and realized, well, maybe I'm the common denominator with these like horrible bosses and relationships. And I'd say 13 years ago or so, I had suffered one of those breakup type of things where
Hmm.
I just thought, I have to change. It's only when I changed that I could lead others to change because you can talk to your blue in the face, but it's the same thing about self-leadership. If you're not leading yourself better first,
Hmm.
for example, having difficult conversations, communication styles, all of that is leadership and managing relationships better in life.
Yes, yes.
I did
Uh,
it all wrong, and that's how I had to figure out how to start doing it right.
but sometimes we have to go down the wrong road in order to find the right road. Because if we never go down a path that's wrong for us, we'll never really understand how good the right path is for us, right? So,
Right.
yeah. And that goes along with going through failure and hardships. These things teach us what is the good way to go and which is the path that we really want to be in.
Yeah, and I think that was true for me of, you know, the pandemic. It was difficult, and I realized it was hard for everybody. So I started asking people on my podcast, you know, started the podcast and asking people, how can we be unstoppable?
Hmm.
And leading us all out of that kind of stuck kind of feeling like, oh no, I can't do things the way I've always done it. And then the end result was such a huge silver lining for me. And now I changed everything. Like I told you, moved. My life is 100% different and also better because of the hard experiences that I have been through. And that's why grit and resilience are so important for me and my superpowers.
Yes. Well, listen, I know that you deal with a lot of executives and you see different sides and different aspects of executive lives. So tell me, what do you think is one of the leadership shifts that you have seen among executives?
Well, I would say leaders today are realizing that high performance isn't about doing more. It's about leading with energy, presence, and purpose.
Hmm.
So the old playbook, I've been there down that road, rabbit hole of hustle and grind. It just
Hmm.
doesn't work anymore. CEOs who win now know how to regulate their emotions, their energy, communicate clearly, and stay emotionally centered even in chaos, because that is the real test. If somebody throws something at you, you
Hmm.
can either throw it right back, not physically, but mentally,
Right.
and be
Uh-huh.
reactive, or you can buy some time and you can be trying a little bit of a feedback loop. Like, so if I'm hearing you correctly, the whole world shut down and we can't see people in person anymore. Is that right? So looping for understanding is a better way to lead by asking somebody what was said, getting clarity, ask if there's more.
Hmm.
So it's the biggest test is not when things are going right in your life. It's when you have these supposed triggers and you want to just lash out. That's when emotional intelligence comes to play in better communication styles.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that's a large part of self-awareness, which leaders have to have self-awareness in order to lead proficiently. A lot of leaders don't know those triggers, don't know those things that cause them to react or behave in a way that is maybe unprofessional or maybe just difficult to deal with. So it's important, I think, that leaders have this sense of self-awareness and have a grasp on who they are. So tell me, what do you feel about self-awareness issue or the self-awareness piece of leadership?
Well, I would say that is step one for EQ skills. Like Daniel Goleman, the father of emotional intelligence, would say the self-awareness is step one
Hmm.
because and being prepared. I'd say you got to be prepared in advance. Like, let's say, you're going to go into the meeting, this person's going to say something. They usually say something and it sets you off.
Hmm.
Be aware of your own triggers. And that's another part of self-awareness. And that's your responsibility to heal. Like, if people are going to say stuff, you're not going to like it. How you handle it is completely on you and it's your responsibility. You can't go around life in victim mode and say, they are triggering me. They
Hmm.
did this and they're the bad person. No,
Hmm.
those difficult people are part of life. Everyone's going to think differently than you.
Right.
So empathy is another huge skill in
Hmm.
leadership that's really needed right now. When you see disengagement, you see the quiet quitting, it's a huge problem right now, and it can be resolved. You just have to take an interest in people
Hmm.
that are on your team, ask them how they're doing, say, "Oh, you were quiet at the meeting. Is everything okay?" It doesn't take a lot of work to make people feel special, and once you do that, then you get the buy-in. They're not
Hmm.
going anywhere.
Right. Right. Now, you mentioned earlier about the difference in COVID or pre and post COVID.
Yeah.
Now, I know that a lot of people have gone to working virtually, and you have this connection that maybe at one time was physical within an office building. Now you don't have that physical connection. So, tell me, what do you think is the key to making that connection with those that you work with, those who work for you, and those kinds of things?
Well, that's a great question too, because you can create it. You just have to work extra hard. You
Hmm.
know, you can set up quick calls with people, you can set up quick Zooms with people, you can just take an interest in their lives.
Hmm.
We're all really benefiting from this new laptop lifestyle. So we can all function this way. We just have to make an extra effort to not let ourselves get isolated. It's lonely at the top. Find someone to support you and talk to,
Hmm.
and reach out to others. If you're feeling triggered and sad and lonely, the best way to fix that is just reach out to somebody else on your team and just be like, I haven't heard from you for a while. What's going on? How are you?
Hmm.
Caring for others is just the best fix for that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I do workshops and training and so forth all over the country. And I talk with different people in different aspects of business, higher education, and all of that. And one of the things that I always try to stress when we're talking about teams and building cohesiveness is making sure that you have that connection with the people who you are supposed to have the connection with. And that is more than just telling them how you feel and speaking. I have this saying, I say that verbiage projects, but communication connects. So we often feel that if I say it, if I speak it, then that should be the end of it. People should understand what I'm saying. But connection is more than just speaking out and saying something. There has to be as you mentioned earlier, a buy-in where people buy into what you're saying and they understand and they make that connection. So I think that's one of the most important things in group and team dynamics is that being able to connect. So,
Yeah, I don't even remember who that famous quote about communication is, where the biggest problem is in communication is thinking that it has occurred. Have you ever
yes,
heard
yes,
that?
yes, yes. And
So,
go ahead.
yeah.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, I was just going to say to your point, yeah, communication is so much more than speaking. It's
Mhm.
really listening more than you speak.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So tell me more about your book.
Oh, sure. Well, The Boss Up and Execute is my latest book. It's a productivity planner. My
Hmm.
first book was The Boss Weight Loss,
Hmm.
how to lose weight in 6 steps. And then as a high performance executive coach, productivity is huge. So
Hmm.
I created a productivity planner to become a high achiever in 90 days. And it has all kinds of prompts in there that you can download and trackers. And for me, I'm just like one of those old school people. Like I have my calendar in
Hmm.
my phone and my computer, so I know I have this meeting with you and I get the little notifications,
Right.
and that's super helpful. But I like to write it down so I
Hmm.
know, take notes, write things down. I'm scribbling all the time. So for me, I've always had a productivity planner,
Hmm.
and I just wanted to create one for my clients and everybody else.
Yeah. No, I think that, and I read this somewhere in some study that was done, that writing things down create a neural pathway in your brain that helps you to remember, whereas, just putting it in your phone or your computer calendar, it doesn't do the same thing. And even though we have alarms in our phones and that kind of thing, writing it down makes it more permanent in our minds and in our subconscious. So yeah, I think I'm old school too. I like having something written down too. So.
Yeah. And you're coming up, I don't know when you guys are listening to this podcast, whenever you're listening to it, but you know what happens in January, everybody has all of these goals, and
Hmm.
then a couple weeks later they get caught up and distracted, and then they have the same goal every January. And I felt that way before. It's just like
Right.
this vicious cycle of stuck.
Hmm.
So the productivity planner can help you. You can use AI and you could figure out what your goal is first
Hmm.
and then reverse engineer it into a plan. And the only way you're going to actually take it from a wish to a goal to a plan in strategic plan is by reverse engineering that goal and then putting it in your calendar. Like, I have to do the thing so that I can accomplish the goal, and it has to be written down and it has to get done.
Hmm. Okay, so you say that becoming healthy and more wellness conscious helps helps the elite leaders become more proficient and also helps them to avoid burnout. Tell me about how that transpires.
Well, everything is energy. So it is about managing your energy and being intentional with it. And a lot of times leadership is about what you say no to.
Hmm.
So being fit, obviously, like your top 5% of all performers are super fit. It helps you perform better
Hmm.
at your game, which is leading your organization or leading your family better. So it's a real value add to leadership, but it's also about managing your mindset. It's about managing your energy and the self-leadership. So that's basically the method that I teach. The boss method is boosting your emotional intelligence, optimizing your energy, and obviously fitness and nutrition is huge in optimizing your energy because
Hmm.
food is there to give you energy. You don't eat enough of it. You don't have enough energy. Eat the wrong food and you get that brain fog where you're like, I just need more coffee. I want to sit on the couch. So obviously health is huge for high performance.
Hmm. So do you think that, well, let me ask this. Why do you think most high level leaders often neglect that physical wellness portion? I mean, not to say that all high level leaders are out of shape. That's not what I'm saying. But you find often high level leaders, they may have vices that play into unhealthy habits, whether it be smoking, or drinking too much, or what have you, not exercising. Why do you think that that happens often in the high level leadership?
Well, I mean, I hate the word busy, because we all have to make choices about our schedule, but imagine the pressure of disruption and all the emails and texts and phone calls you have to field on a regular basis. So the biggest barrier to putting yourself first and leading yourself first is your schedule. You know,
Hmm.
what more can you delegate? What more can you delete? What can you do now and what can you do later? So it's really about that productivity planner.
Hmm.
And once you have that absolute no list, your yes list, it's really putting yourself first and it doesn't take a lot of time. So I get it. I know we're all busy.
Hmm.
Leaders are busy, moms are busy, everyone's busy, but
Hmm.
it's really there's no excuse. If you
Yeah.
want to take all that hard work you've been doing your whole life and be around for your legacy and the people that you lead,
Hmm.
you can't put it off any longer. It's really about managing your time better so that you have time for yourself, so that you can have more influence.
Right. Right. And I think that no matter how much productivity you have, what does it matter if you're not around to live it and enjoy it?
Right.
And when you constantly on this wheel, which it really is just an endless wheel that we're constantly going on, and we don't take that time to take care of ourselves. Even when you ride an airplane, they tell you if anything happens, if the oxygen mask come down, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you try to help someone else. So we're as leaders trying to help and lead our organization, but we never take the time to put our oxygen mask on ourselves. And that's going to lead ultimately to, as you said, burnout.
Oh, yeah, and much worse. It's gonna lead to you not being there any longer. I mean, stress is a killer.
Hmm.
And that's the thing that holds people back from taking care of themselves is they're so busy and they're so stressed, and that is like a recipe for disaster in your longevity. So
Yeah.
really about this is just like a wake-up call.
Hmm.
You got to do this now. It doesn't take more than 20 minutes a day. You gotta say no to a lot more things, and that includes some of those vices you mentioned.
Hmm.
It's really about saying yes to yourself by saying, another problem that a barrier to being healthy as a leader is all those damn meetings and training that you have to do. And then you get with your regular people and you're always like the scotch and you know what I mean? There's a better way to do all that. You can
Right.
do, you know, golf. You can just build like one tiny healthier habit,
Hmm.
start now, and then from there you can stack another habit onto it. Like for me, I'm always drinking a lot of water. So I got waters around. Make sure that I'm always drinking a lot of water.
Yeah.
It's simple, but you can't make any more excuses. You just have to say, I want to be there for my team, my
Hmm.
family, and all this hard work I've been doing. I want to be around.
All right. I totally agree. And I think that if we could just say to ourselves, I can be 1% better in my health and taking care of myself, 1% better every day.
Right.
That's not a lot. That's not a lot. And when we do that, we'll build up habits that increase our lifespan over the course of time. So
Absolutely.
let me ask you this. Looking back over your life, what is the best piece of advice that you've received?
Oh, I really think that my coach has always taught me that I need to take personal responsibility for stuff. And when you do that, it's just so freeing
Mhm.
instead of being caught up in that victim state that we have really see people caught up in like this happened to me and that happened to me and this one said that to me and they're such a jerk. It's really about where you are in your life today is all about the choices that you made. And when you get to that point of realizing, I got to own that, I got to take ownership for my behavior,
Mhm.
then you can improve it. Like that 1% better is such a great thing. You see, people trying to execute under pressure because you see the problem is you see too many brilliant CEOs burning out because they lack structure around their success.
Mhm.
And that's what inspired me to teach people my boss method.
Yes. I think if we are all to follow that method, that boss method, it would be a better environment for our coworkers, our teams, and our businesses and our lives in general.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about some of the things that led up to where you are now. What type of or what career choices have you made that kind of led you into this passion?
Well, I'm always passionate about being a leader in my own life of taking care of myself. So, because I was so passionate about that, it led me to teach exercise classes, teach spin classes, do personal training, and then move into coaching because
Mhm.
it's like that personal relationship. I love the personal relationships that I've developed with clients over the years.
Mhm.
As self-leadership is really about lifting those in your charge up to be better leaders. So
Mhm.
I think for me, it really fitness, that was my rock. That was it. That was my beginning. I'm never gonna not be fit. Maybe I'm a little vain.
Well,
It's important to me.
I think we all could do better in our fitness. And I'm putting myself in that category too. I used to do a lot of working out and going to the gym. And I've just started back getting to a place where I do more.
Good.
I went through a health crisis. And
Oh,
after that, I kind of just stopped doing everything because I lost the energy and all that kind of stuff. But I've started back going to the gym and starting to feel much, much better now. So, yeah, I think that we all should take heed to what you're saying about taking care of our physical and mental health. And that's something that we don't talk about a whole lot is our mental health. So I think we should take heed to both our physical and mental health.
oh yeah. I mean, good for you for taking it seriously now. It's like for me, the pain was the motivator to work on myself. And, a lot of people, it takes getting to a crisis before they'll, work on their health.
Hmm.
So we've all been through a crisis right now. So now is the time to decide, like, who do you wanna lead? Who
Hmm.
do you How do you wanna be? Who do you wanna influence? How do you wanna show up? And the boss method stands for the boosting your emotional intelligence, and that will help you have boundaries, operating systems, structures, and strategies. And then, like I said, optimizing your energy, managing your mindset, and the whole thing is the self-leadership.
Yes. Okay, so our time is running short, but this is my last question to you.
Okay.
If you had to give your 18, 19-year-old self some advice, what would you say to them?
Oh, I would just say it's all gonna be okay. Everything's gonna work out. You're gonna be happy and everything's gonna be okay because younger me was very anxious and fearful and always worried about stuff that never really happens.
Hmm.
So you need to get up in the morning, girl, you need to have a positive mindset. You gotta tell yourself, "This is gonna be a great day."
Hmm.
And manage your mindset. Like, had I not suffered with that kind of stuff, I wouldn't have built this system and structure for myself. So
Hmm.
it's all going to be okay, girl. You got this.
Well, that's some advice all of us could take. All of us could take that because I think that sometimes the fear of things to come is more. potent than the thing to come itself.
Yeah.
So we need to take that advice. Tell our listeners how they can get in contact with you, how they can, if they need to call you in to speak for their organization or what have you. Give us that information.
Oh, well, thank you. I love to talk to all of my LinkedIn people. So I'm on LinkedIn, Lisa Goldenthal. My website is High Performance Executive Coaching, or my YouTube is at Miss High Performance. But you can actually, if you want to get the planner and you're listening to us right now, it's on Amazon, Boss Up and Execute. If you send me a screenshot of your review, I'm happy to give you a coaching session for 15 minutes to help you use it. So then email me, lisag@lisagfit.com.
All right, Lisa, we really appreciate this conversation. We really know that our listeners are going to enjoy this, and also going to leave an open standing invitation for you to come back and join us at another time.
Oh, Kevin, thanks.
So we would love to have you come back on again and share some other things with us.
I'm happy to. Thanks again for having me.
All right. Well, we end our show as we always do with this saying: the secret to success is not doing the right things, but becoming the right person, the real you. Join me in becoming someone better. Thank you. We'll see you next week, and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to Imagining Bridges to Better Leadership. We hope today's episode gave you valuable insights and strategies to strengthen your leadership and build better connections. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with other leaders who are ready to transform their teams and communication. Until next time, keep building bridges and creating better leadership in every connection you make.